Having a good life and being successful seems to be so complex, but it really is not. Now, is it simple? Yes. Now, is it easy? No, but it is simple. All really comes down to slowly replacing your bad habits with good habits. This is something you need to be doing every day, going all the way out to the long run. You need to understand that the quality of our lives depend on the quality of our habits. By focusing on the good habits, you start to follow the scheme of becoming 1% better every day. Ultimately, the combination of good habits over months and years compounds into great results. And this is why the process of becoming successful is simple, but just not easy. To be successful, you need to be okay with doing these habits and constantly improving your input on these habits in order to get results in the long run. You will face lots of boredom and urges to quit on these habits, but you just cannot. And this is actually why it is so difficult. Now, you may overwrite what doing good and doing bad habits does for you, but in the long run, our lives can become severely different, varying on the form of habit we let dominate our lives. For example, did you spend your free time playing a video game, or did you spend your free time reading or working on a skill? You spend 5 years playing the video game, or if you spend 5 years working on a skill, reading, what's going to get you good results? The 5 years of video games is going to put your life in a dump. 5 years of reading and working on a skill is going to put your life on an upward scale. It's just stuff like that. Those people that are deemed as overnight successes are really just people who succeeded because all of their good habits compounded and it finally led to a major change. So assuming that you're unhappy since you clicked on this, your problem right now is that you have a lot of bad habits that you want to switch into good habits so you can make sure the bad habits are not compounding and making your life even worse. Now the thing is, you don't just straight up swap bad habits for good ones. You need to start lowering the amount of bad habits you do every day, and you need to start increasing the amount of good habits you do every day. So let's just start off basic. Let's say you spend 2 hours a day playing video games and 0 minutes a day reading. Now immediately your motivation is going to get all tuned, like, oh, okay, I'm just going to switch out video games, reading completely, 0 minutes of video games every day, reading for my whole life. Slow down a little bit. Make sure you don't forget to do this. Make sure to slow down. Just start slow. The next day, so let's say again, you have the 2 hours of video games, 0 minutes of reading. Now the next day, you just spend an hour and 50 minutes playing video games, and you put those 10 that you took away from video games into reading. Then the next day, you can do 1 hour 40, 20 minutes of reading. You get how it goes. And eventually, you can completely wipe out the use of video games and completely start changing the amount you read for. We are doing this slowly because you have done this bad habit so many times that it's become automatic as a response to an emotion you were having, whether this be boredom, sadness, anxiety, whatever it may be. You become psychologically and physiologically so attached to this habit that it's just almost impossible to snap out of it. And that's why you cannot expect to just go from 2 hours of video games to a day, 0 minutes of reading, and just completely swap those 2 out. You need to lower the amount you're doing of the bad habit and then increase the amount you're doing of the good habit. That's all it takes. And I'll make sure you do this with all of the good and bad habits. And I'm being serious about this. Don't click off of this and think you're all high and mighty. It's like, okay, I'm just going to switch out my good and bad habits. I'm better than starting slowly. I'm better than just slowly coming off my bad ones and slowly increasing my good ones. Don't be like that. Because the moment you do that, you're just setting yourself up for failure. Now, eventually, after about a month or two, you will just fully swap these out with this method, right? Just slowly coming off the bad ones, slowly increasing the good ones. Now they're fully swapped. And to do this, saving yourself from the psychological and physiological warfare that you would do if you just immediately try to come off of it. Once you get to this step, the next step is to actually stick with these habits for the long run. This is where we have to explain kind of the chart of success, of habits really paying off. You see, what you're going to expect with habits is it to be a linear increase. It's going to go, you think it's going to go up like this. You think your results are going to go up like this, day by day, maybe week by week. You'll see, oh, okay, I'm going to start improving. It's not going to be like that. Instead, it's going to be like this. You're going to be starting here. You really think you should be up here maybe, but no, you're going to go up here a little bit more. That's it. Maybe you see a little bit of improvement. You're starting to lose hope. You still keep going with it. It's all the way up there. You're getting even better results than you even expect. It is an exponential growth rate. So with this, you would think that going to the gym instead of watching Netflix may not seem like such a big deal, but let the months, let the years come at it, and you really realize now that that's compounded, that it's really paid off. Like I said, you expect some pretty decent linear growth, but it doesn't happen. Instead, you keep doing these habits, you don't see much progress, but then all of a sudden it just skyrockets. In the book Atomic Habits, the author James Clear actually gives a really good example of this. Picture this, you are in a room, the temperature is slowly going up every time. And in that room, you're just sitting on a chair with a desk in front of you, with an ice cube on a plate, whatever it may be. Now, the temperature is going up by 1 really slowly. So let's say you are at 28 degrees. It's not melting, right? You're at 29 degrees. It's not melting, right? You're at 30 degrees. It's not melting. You're at 31 degrees. It's not melting. You're thinking, okay, it keeps going up. It keeps going up. Surely it's not going to melt now because it just keeps going up and I'm not seeing anything. 32 degrees, it starts to melt. is exactly how habits work. You think you're not doing anything effective for yourself, but then eventually it's going to compound and you're going to get bigger results than you even expected. It all really comes down to making sure that you are using good habits to compound for your future instead of bad habits. Work on swapping out the good with the bad. Stick with it so the results will come. And then you can eventually enjoy people just calling you an overnight success because your habits finally compounded. The process of doing good habits and waiting them for a compound in the long run is really difficult, but once the time really does come, it's 100% worth it. Alright, if you want to make friends on self-improvement, you can join my Discord down below. Nice place to network with like-minded people, and I'm sure you would enjoy it.